As of October 12, 2023, humanity has discovered 5,528 exoplanets in 4,115 different star systems. Considering that the first one was discovered only in 1992, and the Kepler telescope, which discovered more than half of the exoplanets, was launched already in 2009. It turns out that on average humanity discovers one planet per day. On the scale of the Milky Way, where several trillion such planets are not enough, but on the scale of humanity, which burned the last witch just 150 years ago, it is incredible. The 5,500th anniversary exoplanet discovered was the world toy 198b, 77 light-years from Earth. As befits a planet with a beautiful number, it is the most intriguing, because toy 198b is a super-Earth. This is the name given to planets that have masses much larger than the Earth, but do not reach the smallest of the gas giants, Neptune. In general, there are quite a lot of them in space. Approximately every third planet is a super-Earth. And this, by the way, is also an important discovery of 2023, which can be explained without complex mathematics. Most of the stars in space are small red dwarfs, which is understandable, since there are also more ants on Earth than elephants. Well, the most probable type of planets in terms of mass and size, which mathematically can form from red dwarfs, is just a super-Earth. They were found in 40% of all red dwarfs that were looked at. In fact, even Barnard's star, 6 light-years away, has its own super-Earth. And as a result, it turns out that the most popular planet, at least in our galaxy, is a planet with a mass of 3 to 10 times that of Earth. But at the same time, it is smaller than Neptune, which is 17 times heavier. The newly discovered toy 198b is 20.67 times more massive than the Earth. Its star is just a red dwarf, class M, half the size of the Sun in radius and mass. It is clear that the zone of possible life in such a system is located closer to the star. Therefore, the fact that toy 198b is 10 times closer to its star than the Earth is to the Sun should not be annoying. Is there anything to be wary about, because this is the closest border to the habitable radius? Was toy 198b able to avoid frying and maintain living conditions? It's too early to judge because the planet has only just been found, but in theory everything is possible. We have Venus in our system, which could not stand the proximity to the star and turned into a stove. On the other hand, uranium, which is closer to the Sun than Neptune, but for some reason is colder. There are many strange things in space, and the very fact that the solar system does not contain the most popular type of planet in the galaxy is proof of this. Although, wait, maybe there is. That same planet X, which Konstantin Batygin is actively searching for in our system, is, according to calculations, precisely a super-Earth. And in September 2023, everything became even more fun. Japanese astronomers Takashi Ito and Patrick Likowa stated that a planet 1.5 to 3 times larger than the Earth can fly at a distance of 50 astronomical units from the Sun. Their assumption is not crazy, at least, because we know very little about what happens in the solar system at such distances. The space between 30 and 55 astronomical units occupies the Kuiper belt, a place that until recently most astronomers disdainfully called the dumping ground for waste materials left over from the construction of the solar system. The humiliation continued in 2006, when Pluto, which is located in the Kuiper belt, was stripped of its planet status. But over the past 10 years, the situation has changed. It was revealed that the Kuiper belt is 100 times more massive than the closer asteroid belt. They found Makis, Eris, and Haumea, and other dwarf planets and estimated that more than 70,000 objects with a diameter of more than 100 kilometers in the Kuiper belt have not yet been found. In general, life there is in full swing, and the Japanese decided to check it out using an application for studying celestial bodies. Just look, the Japanese chose not to look at the vicinity of the Pluto, which has been well studied. And at the far edge of the Kuiper belt, 50 astronomical units from the Sun, real miracles are happening there. For example, there is a dwarf planet Sedna, 4 times smaller than the Moon. It revolves around the Sun not in a circle, but in an incredibly elongated ellipse. Sedna is now 84 astronomical units from the star. And in a few thousand years it will be as much as 900. If anything, by all possible metrics this is already outside the solar system. Sedna will be 1,000 times farther from the Earth than the Sun, and yet by the standards of the cosmos it is still the backyard. To the nearest stars Proximus and Centauri, 200,000 astronomical units. What we have studied poorly around our Sun 30 is our problem. Because of this, the cosmos will not exclude Sedna and other bodies and the solar system A will not. And the point is that they exist. Technology in the hands of the Japanese showed that all these elongated elliptical orbits are a consequence of the work of deep-lying agents. Actually, this is one of the reasons why Batygin is looking for Planet X. But the Japanese were based on simulation data and say that it is smaller. According to their information, this is a body with a mass of 1.5 to 3 zim. And it rotates somewhere between 200 and 800 astronomical units. Not a lot, but it allows us to scratch our heads once again and understand that we don't even know anything about our immediate cosmic environment. It looks like the situation with the water worlds. This is an expression that has been gaining popularity recently. It's clear why our system is full of them. Enceladus, Ceres, Europa, wherever you poke you will run into ice, with a possible ocean below. There are plenty of similar exoplanets. Because of this, they often pose difficult tasks for scientists. One of them was solved in 2023 and we are associated with the exoplanet TOI 244b. This is a world 72 light-years from Earth next to another red dwarf. It was discovered in 2018 but immediately hit a dead end. The planet turned out to be 1.5 times the size of Earth, but only twice as heavy. No one has cancelled the law of the square of the cube and, perhaps, such miracles occur only in one case, that 244b should be soft. This could only be explained in 2023 by inventing a new term, hydrosphere. Yes, like the atmosphere, only not from air but from water. The fact is that TOI 244b is too close to the star. And temperatures there reach 2000 degrees. It's too hot to keep the water clean, but on the other hand, it's not hot enough for gravity to release the water. The poor water has nowhere to go and enters a supercritical state. This is when there is no difference between liquid and gas. A good analogy is a sauna, where there is so much steam that you can drink it. Same thing on the 244b. Only such a hydrosphere extends 500 kilometers from the surface. To say that the planet is unique is an understatement, but our next candidate, TOI 1452b, confidently competes with it. The planet has an impressive mass of almost 5 Earths and revolves around a red dwarf. This time it's quite in the habitable zone, where water can and wants to exist in a liquid state. This whole thing takes place 100 light-years from the Earth and is again remarkable for its density. 5.6 grams per cubic centimeter is almost 5.5 Earth grams per cubic centimeter. But here's the catch. TOI 1452b, as we have already mentioned, is 4.82 times heavier than the Earth. An object that is larger and gravitationally heavier should be compressed more. Therefore, if the density of that 1452b is similar to that of Earth, then this exoplanet is made of something lighter, for example, water. Simulations have shown that the measured characteristics of the planet fall into place provided that it consists of 30% water. At first glance, nothing unusual. After all, on our planet, 70% of the land is covered by the ocean, which is not true. Unfortunately, it is not true. By cosmic standards, Earth is a wildly dry planet. Water makes up only 0.2 of the total mass of our planet. If it were 30%, the average depth of the world's oceans would not be 3 to 4 kilometers, but somewhere around 3 to 4,000 kilometers. Is life possible in such conditions? What would happen with temperature and pressure? These are the questions that scientists want to answer by studying worlds like that 1452b. This is the latest in astronomy and the cutting edge of the search for exoplanets. Water worlds are increasingly identifying them as a separate category, and quite a large one at that. In 2020, NASA conducted the most accurate simulations to date using supercomputers. And I came to the conclusion that an exoplanet with oceans is one of the most common in the Milky Way. Sometimes, like on Enceladus, these oceans are under a layer of ice. Sometimes like that 1452b on the surface. Sometimes, like on that 244b right in the atmosphere, there is also K2-18b found by the Kepler telescope in 2015. The planet is a mystery that still puzzles scientists, and has been a generator of clickbait headlines for 8 years. Although at first, the planet rotating 110 light-years away did not particularly stand out. It is 9 times heavier than the Earth. Only 5 times smaller in diameter than Jupiter. And in a good way, it looks more like Neptune, and not like our cozy world. But then in 2019, an atmosphere with signs of water was found on K18b. And headlines started flying about life found, an exoplanet better than Earth, and stuff like that. Only the scientists themselves, who discovered the atmosphere of K2-18b, did not understand their joy. After all, Saturn and even Pluto have an atmosphere, which does not make them habitable. Their essence is that we, in principle, discern the atmosphere of a celestial body at a distance of hundreds of light-years. But there was no stopping the journalists, and they continued to turn a blind eye to the fact that the atmosphere of K2-18b, whatever it consists of, is many times larger than the Earth's, and the pressure on the surface will be such that it is very difficult to form a Denka molecule there. Well, then a universal irony happened. James Webb Telescope in 2023 in the atmosphere of K2-18b. I detected dimethyl sulfide, a compound that smells like clogged sewers and, according to all the rules of earthly science, can only be created by living organisms. In addition to dimethyl sulfides, VAP smelled both methane and carbon dioxide. These compounds can be created without the participation of bacteria, but together with dimethyl sulfate the combo looks unusual, as you can imagine. And it turned out that the journalists who hyped up the misinterpretations of the articles turned out to be right. K2-18b, in an absolutely incomprehensible and incredible way, has moved into one of the leading candidates for the presence of life, simply because we have the most evidence for this very existence of life. The only problem is that there are no such planets in our system, and we don't know anything about them at all. K2-18b could end up covered in ocean, like in Interstellar. Or maybe our chemistry is not perfect, we have ordinary Neptune in front of us, and we just don't yet understand how to create dimethyl sulfide without attracting the attention of orderlies. In general, the study of exoplanets is a young and completely new branch of astronomy. See you again, friends.